it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. This is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film and related in some shape or form, and hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll have two movies to go check out. And joining me, like every month, is my friend Luke. Luke, thank you so much for coming on.
Anytime, Shane. It's always such a fun time to talk movies with you.
Well, and this is going to be an interesting time as
Yep.
we double dose Olivia Newton-John musicals. It's Xanadu and Grease, which let's get started with Xanadu,
Okay.
which started with in 19 came out in 1980. I had not seen this film before. I had
Same.
heard about it, and I didn't hear great things about it. A struggling artist living in Los Angeles meets a girl who may hold the key to his happiness. That is vague as hell. This film is directed by Robert Greenwald and stars Olivia Newton-John, Gene Kelly in his last film
hmm
before he retired, and Michael Beck. One of these is not like the others. But Luke, what are your general thoughts on Xanadu?
So exactly as you, I've never seen this was my first watch, and I've always
Mhm.
heard. Obviously, we all know Xanadu, the song, because it's a
Yes,
bop, it's a classic,
yes, yes.
and I've always wondered why is the movie not classic? Like, how come that movie and right
Because it's
after
not.
right after Grease, like makes all the money, and the big, and it shoots those two, like Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta, into popularity. How come Xanadu is not a classic? So I watched it. I'm like, oh, that's why. I
Yeah.
get it now. So my brief general thoughts. I don't hate it. Like,
Mm.
and to preface, this, I love musicals. It's not like I have
Yes.
any bias against musicals. Actually, like Moulin Rouge is one of my top five movies of all time,
Yep.
but easily. So I love musicals. This one has bits of brilliance here and there thrown into it, but you can tell they were just trying to recreate that Grease magic, and we have entire sequences of like 10 minutes where it's like, oh, we just sing and dance and roller skate, and I'm like, okay, and the story is, well, there is no story because, see, Shane, they were literally writing the script as they were going, and you can tell.
Script.
Well, script
What
loosely.
script?
Loosely.
Like I I like the concept of an idea
Mhm.
that you have a dreamer
Yes,
who is
artist.
literally inspired by one of the literal muses
hmm
who comes to life and just so happens to be Olivia Newton-John, which
Fair,
I'm not gonna argue with that.
fair.
Um I'd be inspired too. But like that's it. Like
Yes.
they inspire it like inspires her him and this older gentleman played by Gene Kelly to open a nightclub. That's the movie.
hmm
That's it. There's
hmm
like the only conflict in this movie because they seem to not have that many issues building this nightclub.
No.
It's just that like, well, I have to go back being a muse, but don't leave me. And then like that's it. That's the only conflict in this movie. I'm like, there's barely any conflict, there's barely any
hmm
tension. What is
hmm
this movie? This movie is a thinly veiled excuse to do a bunch of roller skating and dance numbers to some catchy music from Electric Light Orchestra and Olivia Newton-John, which
Yes.
like I love the music
hmm
and I love ELO. They're low key one of my favorite classic rock groups from that era. But like, and Olivia Newton-John's extremely talented
hmm
as a performer. I I was charmed as hell by Gene Kelly getting to do
Yes.
his thing and everything. And Michael Beck was like plaster. Like he
Yeah.
not a not a strong actor, had no charisma, and had very little chemistry with Olivia Newton-John, which blows my mind that can't even like Olivia Newton-John being in front of you can't even muster something real out of this. So like when your protagonist is bland as hell, uninteresting, and not really performed well, that's not great. And then you have no story, no tension, no
hmm
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just an excuse for us to enjoy Olivia Newton-John and Gene Kelly and music and I guess the absurd like turn of the 70s into 80s fashion.
Yes. It's
And
look, yeah,
that's the movie.
yeah.
So
Look, I will basically say you're right in every single one of your points. Like, yes. So first of all, this is insane because, like, look, Olivia Newton-John is beautiful, and she roller skates through pretty much the entire movie. But if the skates on his feet have more chemistry with Olivia Newton-John and Michael Beck himself. I don't want to talk shit about actors. I really don't. But look, I'll give you a scene reading. He delivers every line like this. Oh, there is a problem. Oh, don't go there. And literally, like, he's got the same delivery on. Doesn't matter if he's supposed to be mad, sad, happy that he's leaving his job because he is the starving artist, right? And as
yes.
to your point earlier, I really like the concept of this movie.
Yes.
Art, create art for art's sake. Like, and that's what I was saying. There is like hints of like brilliance here and there, where you can
Yep.
see that in somebody else's hands, with a different leading man,
Mhm.
and with a different probably well with actual script, not a script
Yeah, with an
that's
actual
being
plot.
written. Yes,
Like
I think this could be like genuinely great,
well,
right?
and that's the thing too, because like I hate being like put in some cliches here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't even have a plot enough to have cliches.
Nope.
Like I would take a cliched plot of like an evil developer trying to get in their way of opening this. So there's at least some tension in the movie. Because
Mm-hmm.
even like the conflict with the starving artist and his boss is so one-sided
Oh yeah.
that it's like not even an issue. It's like this movie has fun choreography,
Mm-hmm.
fun visual, and then like the special effects. They go full blown special effects. It's so ridiculously 1980.
It's primo 1980, Shane. It's primo special effect kino quality cinema. Just all the
It's
adjectives.
it's silly. This movie is
Yes.
campy as hell.
Yes.
And like this is the kind of movie that I can imagine like a bunch of like gay friends getting together and just like loving Xanadu and just not giving a crap drinking and having a good time watching it because there's no plot to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So like you don't have to be sober either. So it's just like
No. Yeah.
like I feel like this film has fun ideas
Mm-hmm.
and catchy music and aesthetics out the wazoo.
Correct.
Like when it really comes to like things that are essential to build a movie, I feel like it's lacking. So like I will watch this again. I will enjoy the experience of listening to the music and seeing Gene Kelly doing his dancing and
Mm-hmm.
just being charming as hell
Mm-hmm.
because he is.
Yes.
Where he's trying to act against Michael Beck, who's flat as hell. Gene Kelly's just bringing like a twinkle in his eye to every single line,
Mm-hmm.
and Olivia Newton-John just being her
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think she's like Olivia Newton-John was a muse. So like I think she's just basically playing herself. She's being charming and can sing.
Yes.
Um and yeah, the Xanadu song with Olivia Newton-John and an Electric Light Orchestra is so much fun and is such a jam.
It's a bob.
So if you want to sit there and just enjoy some music for this movie also felt a lot longer than an hour 36 minutes because it's just like there's nothing going on.
Are they still
Um,
dancing? Yes, they are.
they
I will
should be
say
dancing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say two things. I will say
Okay.
two things. So first of all, I my girlfriend asked me to say this on the podcast. So I started to watch this movie with my girlfriend and a cat, and both my girlfriend and the cat fell asleep. Not even halfway through the movie because they were so boring. I was like, yeah, I cannot blame you. And my girlfriend actually said, "Is that young? What's his name from the movie?" I was like, "What do you mean?" The guy from Batman. I was like, Heath Ledger? No, it's not young Heath Ledger, but he kind of looks like him, right? Like Michael Beck actually kind of looks like Heath Ledger. However,
But he's no Heath.
he doesn't have the acting chops. He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have nothing. Like, look again. Like he probably
There's
is a good
nothing that Heath
guy.
Ledger had.
And again, I feel bad. Like always feel bad like calling out the specific actors, but like genuinely, he was nominated for a Razzie twice, and from what I can see, like he's quit acting few years later, and I'm like, good for you. Look, not all of us are meant to be actors. I probably would
No,
be shite as well, but I think that his performance alone makes you appreciate Olivia Newton-John and well, Gene Kelly is his own league. He's a
yeah,
legend. Like like let's not
yes,
even but even Olivia Newton-John, I would like, rest in peace, obviously, because she's no longer.
yeah,
However, I think she'll be first to put her hand up and say, I'm also not a great actress because she's primarily a singer and
yes,
performer. But even in this movie, she's charming. She is
yes.
effectively, that movie works mainly because of her. Because Gene Kelly is not in many scenes, right?
No, he's not carrying this film. He's a supporting character, but
Correct.
like her charm is what
Yes.
gets us through this movie, and her singing that gets us through this movie.
And this movie was such a bomb that it killed her acting career. Like this was supposed to be her jumping off platform. Like, oh yeah, let's we know we can sing, we can dance. Let's get you to do some acting. And literally, it bombed so hard. She's like, all right, I'm not gonna act. Cool.
And it's a shame because
It
like
is.
she could have continued a career of like being in musicals and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and there's a space for that. And there's performers out there that are very charming and might not be like the most talented actors, but
Especially
like
nowadays, they are skiving off their charm. So like, they're
yeah,
like basically squeaking through like a modern day Hollywood. And I'm like, Olivia Newton-John could have been that.
yeah.
So like easy.
And this is about all I have to say about Xanadu, except for that
Same.
one scene where they try to get Gene Kelly to liven up his wardrobe was wild. The cops they spent I want to know how much money they spent on costuming
Hmm.
in this movie. But that's Xanadu
Hmm.
for you. But you know what word is the word? It's Grease. It's got groove. It's got meaning. And
Yes,
that
it
is our
does.
next film we're going to be talking about from 1978. Good girl Sandy Olsen and greaser Danny Zuko fell in love over the summer. When they unexpectedly discover they're now in the same high school, will they be able to rekindle their romance? And this film is directed by Randall Kleiser and of course starring John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, and a whole bunch of young actors from that time who are nowhere near as young as they are playing.
I was gonna say young in quotes. Like
Because
they were not
how
old.
Stockard Channing was like
33.
30, 30, 33, playing
Well,
a high
Olivia
school girl.
Newton-John was 29. Olivia
Yeah, like,
Newton-John just looks very young, but she was actually one of the oldest on that set. Like as far as like they were supposed to be high schoolers, but
now,
Olivia
before you give
Newton-John,
American Pie crap, people, go
yep,
watch Grease
yep,
and see how much older they are.
yep,
Because no, these did not look like high school students. God,
nope.
it's so funny because if you look at high school students now, I'm like, children, you are tiny.
Hmm.
But this is a classic, obviously. But Luke, what are your general thoughts on Grease?
I love it. It's base. I would imagine this will be like my top five movies I've rewatched the most. Like because like I
Mhm.
grew up on this movie. Like
Yes,
this was
me
part
too.
of exactly, see, because we're the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. And this was like I still remember we had this in our family on a VHS.
Mhm.
And so every once in a while, my sister and I, we would put it on. Obviously, many things flew right past our heads because we like the colors, we like the music, we like the big ending sequence. There's like, carousels and all that. Like, yeah, great. It's just, and many things, obviously, it was like, oh yeah, this is whatever story. But, it's music. And now, like, rewatching it, I'm like, this is still magical. Like this is to me like
Yes.
I cannot judge it harshly. I know we're gonna get there. Like there is some questionable lines here and there, and I think people tend to overblow how bad it is. Even Olivia Newton-John, when she was still alive in 2020, got under fire by daring to say, "I think it's just a movie. I don't think it's that bad of a movie. Like, I don't think it's homophobic or racist. Like, girl, people, we need to chill." And she got under fire for that. And I'm like, I don't think it's that bad, but okay.
Well, you would have to find those people in the movie to actually have those things. Which that's the thing. Like it is what it is. This movie was made in 1978. It's like completely an all white cast, and
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yes.
And now this film I watched so many times as a kid. I even took
Hmm.
my mom to see this in re-release in theaters, probably back in 2018, I think it was. It
Nice.
was so much fun.
Hmm.
And there was families with their kids and everybody like singing along, having a good time, singing Grease Lightning, and they say Pussy Wagon, and I'm just like, wait, what?
Yes.
Which I think that was the moment in that theater rewatch. I'm always like, should I watch this as a kid? And it's just like, it is what it is. There's a lot of implied sex that happens because one of the
High schoolers.
characters is potentially pregnant, and will she get a what rhymes with mishmortion? Um, but this film is so charming.
Hmm.
All the music is unbelievably iconic at this point. Which, first off, as an Italian American from New Jersey, right across from Philly, Frankie Valli
Hmm.
and just Grease, the theme song with the whole animation at the beginning is
Yep.
so much fun. I actually rewatched this with my mom for the podcast because she was over. We had gone to a funeral and then came home and like we're gonna lighten the mood by watching some Grease. But like the Frankie Valli theme song is amazing. Um, just summer lovin'
Hmm.
and just like oh well, oh well, oh well, oh well,
Well, well.
tell me more, and that and not gonna lie, I could
Hmm.
not think of the internet meme of it's
Yep.
like, tell me more. Doesn't look a bitch with Jordan from Pulp Fiction in it. So good. But Grease Lightning's a great song. Beauty School Dropout, which honestly, if you really just listen to the lyrics of that song, it's pretty mean, to be
Hmm.
honest. But like Frankie Avalon, like that's such a great song. I love the set design and this dreamlike thing with Frenchie and everything.
Hmm.
The dance, doing like the dance marathon and everything. They do drag racing. It's all of it. It's all the things
Different
that
kind
you
of
want.
drag racing than we know today.
Yes.
They were not that
With
progressive.
cars.
Yes.
And then of course like um the whole entire climax with Sandy showing up in leather.
Hmm.
Um and that whole entire musical number, and it's fantastical. It's fun. It's honestly deals with a bunch of stuff like dropping out of high school or maybe getting pregnant and all of these things. And Danny's an idiot and should have just been like, which also, I'd like to point out that his crew are a bunch of nerds. So who's he trying to impress? Like, come on. But I guess, look, what are some of the things that really stand out to you that you love about the film?
So now, see, that's the thing. Like, so now watching it with, like in my like almost mid 30s, and with what the movies I watched, I wish movies still looked half or even like 10% as good as this one does. The
Yes.
scope, the fact it's all real, like shot on
Mhm.
locations. Because if it's shot on locations, you can see shadows, you can see scope, you can position a camera and like actually frame a shot. There are the cinematography alone is stunning. There's a shot there's several great shots, but there is like a scene that when they are in a drive-in theater and like Danny has this song and I think he's standing in front of like the screen and the light projecting is like in the background, he's in the
Yeah.
foreground. That's a beautiful show. I was like, wow. And I wish musicals, not musicals, sorry, movies would
Yes.
still look like at least 10% as great as this one does. Like the wardrobe, like all costumes pop
Yeah.
out, the colors pop out, the
Pink
leather
ladies.
costume. Yeah, the pink ladies. The leather costume, you mentioned Olivia Newton-John at the finale. She famously had to be sewn into it for a week because the zipper broke. So imagine getting your ass being sewn into a costume on a 106 Fahrenheit day, and you need to be like, she was like, yeah, no, it wasn't it was rough, but I got through with it. I was like, wow, she's a trooper. And
Yep.
like, and again, like it brings you joy. Like, it's like it's so hard for me to be objective about some movies, and this will be one of them because they're like every single while there's like this scene or you still remember from like back when you're 6, and it just transforms you into that time, and or like that song starts like, oh, even though I've heard it thousands of times by now, it still is, slaps hard. Just like You're the One I Want is a great song, like,
Mm.
that just brings joy, and it's just, yeah, like, like I would say, like, but so yeah, if and not to be underestimated, every movie musical since that, especially set in high school, will have references to Greece and will be compared to Greece, period.
Yes.
Like, let's not forget, and I looked it up on IMDb trivia, so I'll be exact. This was huge. At the time of its release, this was the third highest grossing movie worldwide after Star Wars New Hope and Jaws. And of course, highest grossing movie of 78. This was massive. And there is a
Yes.
reason for that though. Because, like, as you said, you took your mom to the, there would have been 40? Yeah, 40-year screening, 2018, right?
Yeah.
Was the theater packed, I would imagine?
Yes. It
See?
was jam packed.
Correct. Because people still love this movie. And then,
This
like,
came
in
out
3 years.
right around when the year after my mom graduated high school.
Hmm.
So this was a cultural phenomenon, and it still
And
is.
and in 3 years, when it's gonna be 50 years, I guarantee you, if there's gonna be 50-year like release, even in the UK, if we were to get it, I guarantee you, even in the UK, the theaters would get packed here because people still, no matter, and not just old, quote unquote, old people, even younger people
Mm.
who can switch off the part of brains like, oh, they said one thing I don't like, so therefore it's sexist. And I'm like, guys, no, you're missing the point. Just
Well, this film is a very 70s high school movie set in a very 50s
yes.
landscape. Because, and that's the thing, this movie was nostalgic then.
Yep. And
Because,
not even that. Like, not even that. The you know, did she put up a fight? That's the line that always gets quoted out of the context. Well, if you watch it in a context, he's always butt of the joke in that whole group. Nobody in that group takes him seriously. Like, he is that character you should not be like aspiring to be like. He's not the character who's right. He's the clown of the group, and nobody, even after he says that, he's like, they look at him like weirdly, like, the fuck? Like, he is the butt of the joke even in that group. So like, literacy needs to come into play. We're like, just
well,
because
and
that movie said this one thing, that doesn't mean the movie condones this one thing. Look at who says it.
because,
Like,
here's the thing, Kaneki is the only one in this group
mhm,
that seems like he thinks he's the only one that seems like legitimately cool out of all of them.
yeah,
Danny is so insecure
hmm,
and is putting on so much because
high
we
schoolers.
yeah, and that's the thing. They're high schoolers.
Hmm. Hmm.
They're a bunch of insecure people to begin with,
Yeah.
and you from the start, we see the real Danny
Hmm.
is who falls for Sandy. And then, God, that is so cringy on purpose when they see each other for the first time. He's like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he tries to act cool in front of, let me point out again, his nerds in leather jackets, because his crew are a bunch of freaking nerds in leather
Hmm.
jackets. because they're
Mm-hmm.
not cool.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are cool. And like it's this is the kind of film that like I think it captures just how awkward and uncomfortable high school is.
Yes.
And everybody's trying to put on, be cool, but you're not. None of you are. None of you are cool.
Mm-hmm.
If you're cool in high school, that doesn't mean anything.
And even the ending, by the way, like, when people say, "Oh yeah, just the lesson here is you change for the boy and everything's gonna be fine," and I'm like, "But did she change though? Yeah, she dressed up in a thingy. She dressed up in all leather, and she has different kind of hair. Do you? But you can still see like she doesn't know what to do. Like, they still need to point her out like what she needs to do with a cigarette and all that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's for one day. I even
Well,
as a
and
kid, I'm like, I like even as a 8-year-old kid, I'm like, I don't think she's changed. I think the next day, if the movie continues, she's gonna go back to being her old Sandy. Except John Travolta's actually changed. Like he shows up in that, like, oh
letter
yeah, I need to
letter
grow up.
jacket for
Yeah, I
track.
need to. And he even says, calls them out like, guys, high school is over. We need to grow up. Like, who you gonna be, following somebody for the rest of your life? So, and to the other point, the screenplay writer, the guy who actually
Mhm.
wrote this movie, said the movie the movies at the time, he was like he thought he was being smart, basically, because apparently movies at the time they had that formula: the bad boy changes for the girl to get the girl at the end. So he was like, what if the girl changes for a bad boy and becomes the bad girl? That would be a twist. So people at the time wouldn't actually expect it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I guess that's a valid reason.
'Cause
Don't know.
at the end of the day, like I'm not going to argue that this movie is super progressive for
No, it's
1978
not.
because it's not. But like I think there's levels of nuance to this movie that in a
Correct.
vacuum that people aren't going to pick up on.
Mm-hmm.
That like I'm sure there's Gen Alpha and Zoomers out there that'll watch this movie and be very upset about some of the stuff. And they should be. There's certain things in
Mm-hmm.
this movie that just like we have hopefully evolved past
Mm-hmm.
some of the perspectives in this.
Yes.
And it's across the board. Like Frenchie's whole entire thing with like not knowing what she wants to be
Mm-hmm.
and like wanting to drop out of school and go into a trade,
Yeah.
which beauty school is a trade school.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget. And that's very interesting in 2025 because to be frank, we need more people in trades. And this whole entire dynamic, and at the end, like think about the lyrics to the song too. It's like she said, "You better shape up,"
Yeah.
because like Danny needs to. Danny needs
Mm-hmm.
to grow up
Mm-hmm.
and stop like the whole the whole vibe of them dressing up in the leather jackets and everything. Like that other gang that they drag race against, they're like actual like
Yes.
bad guys in leather jackets and stuff like that. Danny's crew are a bunch of nerds, I
Like
think,
wannabes.
cosplaying. Yeah, they want to be cool kids.
Mm-hmm.
Not. And, their moment is the Grease Lightning song, where they're like in that is also such great production design and
Yes.
everything with the garage and everything. And great song. But like
Mm-hmm.
this is about a bunch of people that are extremely insecure. All of them. Like there's only a handful in either main group in this. Like Rizzo's really insecure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like she wants to be she acts super cool. She smokes cigarettes and sings of Sandra D. And like Rizzo's a jerk. But Rizzo's really trying to like overshadow a bunch of insecurities she has.
Yeah,
And
like her song like hits
yeah,
hard. Like when she
yeah,
has like when the actress, had that one song to her, you're like, "Oh, there's a depth to that character." Right?
mhm, absolutely. And like uh Michael Tucci's character Sonny is
Mm.
such it's like, yeah, I'll stick up to like and then completely falters because like he's cool.
Yeah.
He's not like the bad guy. And that's the thing. It's fun seeing them all wake up and like honestly for me personally, I love Frenchie. I think she's
Mm-hmm.
probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. And then like you have like Eve Arden and Sid Caesar popping up in the like adult. characters in the movie is a lot of fun. It just has a lot of great 50s vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why everybody's like obsessed with the 80s. Like back
Yes.
in the 70s, people were obsessed about the 50s. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's all nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And this is such a fun movie from start to finish. The musical numbers, there's so many of them, and almost every single one of these is iconic at this point. It's just
100%.
been that impactful.
No,
I think,
100%. Like it's again, it's so fucking crazy that you have a one movie where pretty much every song became like a sensation. Maybe not at the very start, but like
yeah.
now, almost 50 years later, pretty much any song is a bop. It's
Mhm.
that doesn't happen often.
No, and it makes me happy that there was still a time where a musical could be the number one movie released in 1978 because like
Yep.
musicals just don't have that kind of respect in cinema anymore, and it makes me sad because like a lot of people hate musicals,
Yes.
and like there's just a comment. So many people like, I can't get past that people would just start singing out of nowhere. Yet
Mm,
they'd watch like superheroes and like you can buy into that and suspend
mm.
your disbelief. But you can't suspend your disbelief that people would sing about their feelings.
But I feel like, to your point, like, yeah, there's quite a few people who hate musicals, but I think there are quite a few people that like love musicals, and if you give them a
Yes.
great one, they will show up. Like, case in point, we've seen something we haven't seen like almost never, like Greatest Showman a couple of years ago. When it opened, I still remember, it opened to
Yeah.
like 30, 40 million, and people are like, oh, that's a flop, that's a flop. But then it did
And
30
it
to 40
kept
million
making money.
every single fucking week because
Yeah.
people the word of mouth was so strong and people were like, oh yeah, that was actually a cute movie, let me rewatch it. And
Yeah.
eventually it made to close to a half a billion, or if even maybe
Wild.
more.
It was wild.
Yeah,
But
yeah, so
here's the
like,
thing, and I'm
mm-hmm.
going to say something that might upset some people who absolutely love The Greatest Showman.
uh
It's not a great movie story wise.
yeah,
Like, and P.T. Barnum was a piece of shit. And
he
to be
was.
frank, the P.T. Barnum in the movie's not a great guy either. It
Mm-hmm.
just, I love him because he's Hugh Jackman.
It's just Hugh
Um,
Jackman has that charisma. Yes.
yeah, but like that movie is an hour and 40 minutes and is non-stop banger after banger after banger. And you can just watch it and enjoy the hell out of it. And that's why it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad Wicked made a bunch of money. That
Yep.
made me happy. Um, and we've gotten some really like between West Side Story, In the Heights, and Tick Tick Boom,
Mm-hmm.
all in the same year.
Yep.
That was like some grade A, like modern musicals. And well, Tick Tick Boom was just a Netflix release, so that didn't make money in theaters. But like people didn't go see West Side Story and In the
Mm-hmm.
Heights, and it made me sad. Made me
Mm.
sad.
Me too.
But they'll still pack out theaters for Grease because Grease has groove. It has meaning.
It
So
does.
Grease is iconic. But I guess Luke, do you have any other thoughts that you want to throw out about Grease before we wrap up?
Just one more, like, like especially compared to the Xanadu and Michael Beck, John Travolta, you can make all the jokes you want about him, but he is a hell of a performer and even like a great actor. Like not like in this movie, I'm not saying he's the greatest of actors in this
Yeah,
movie particularly, but like especially if you watch this and Xanadu back to back, you actually appreciate that. Hey, he actually he actually gives you something to work
this
with.
man got nominated for an Oscar for the movie he made before this.
Hmm.
He was nominated for Best Actor for Saturday Night Fever,
Yeah.
which I don't think a lot of people think like people have memed that people have just thought about it. I don't think enough people have actually watched the movie and realized it deals with a lot of heavy shit.
I was gonna
And,
say, yep, that's
and
a dark movie.
yeah, and that John Travolta is really good in it.
Yeah, he is.
And he has like endless charisma.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure he nat 20s on charisma checks every single time. So, but
Correct.
that's the thing. John Travolta has had horrible stretches in his career, but he's still extremely charismatic.
Hmm.
And he might not be able to say people's names right, but watch Saturday Night Fever, watch Grease. This
Hmm.
man
Hmm.
is extremely talented. And This is such a great film. And yes, in a couple of years, when this releases for its 50th, I definitely want to take my mom again because I think that
Mm.
would be a great time.
I
So,
would, if it plays again, if it plays here, I will be more than happy to go to the cinemas and watch it on a big screen with a
mhm.
audience.
But those are our thoughts on Xanadu and on Greece. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Jeff, and we're going to be talking about a double dose of movies where, friends or strangers unexpectedly have children and they're not in actual relationships. It's friends with kids and knocked up. And next month, Luke and I are going to do a double dose of 90s Danny Boyle in honor of the release of 28 Years Later. It's going to be Shallow Grave and a Life Less Ordinary. But Luke, thank you so much as always for coming on and talking movies with me.
Always a blast, Shane. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite, like, nostalgic musical that you go back to? And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. So many shows, plenty to keep up on, plenty of things to learn and enjoy. But if you want to be part of the crew, whether being a guest on, say, like Luke's show, Netflix and Chill, or on like Wasteland Watch List, or you want to start your own podcast, make sure to reach out, head over to our website. And if you like our logo, check out High Flyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network.